Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble news channel. This made me think that there were a lot more institutions ready to go, but it turns out they weren't lined up, they don't fully understand it, and they're confused by it and the mass media. There are also people at Bloomberg and CNBC who understand Bitcoin, but there are also a lot of people who don't. Because of this, there is always false information. Let me make that clear. It's been a long time since Bitcoin wasn't stable. When big investors see that, they think, wow, this is really risky. James Lavish, a famous trader and financial expert, talked to podcaster Joe Burnett about market trends, how institutions are involved in Bitcoin, and how it is being used. James talked about what he knew about Bitcoin's potential. He compared it to gold and emphasized that Bitcoin has a limited quantity and is becoming more popular. James Lavish says that big investors will lead the next wave of people around the world who use Bitcoin. He said that acceptance has been slower than expected, even though Bitcoin ETFs have been agreed upon. Lavish explained this by saying that big investors were busy with other things, like investing in AI and language learning models. We've only had a few of them though, yes. So there isn't a lot of real-world proof, but it gives you something to hold on to. That's a big deal. I think we're just now getting to the start of the age of institutional adoption. As soon as those ETFs were passed, I was, in retrospect, far more hopeful than I should have been about their adoption by institutions. It's hard to believe that people don't see this when you come from that world and know this. When you study and know Bitcoin, you really understand its true value. You just can't understand it. Still, you find that no one is thinking about these things when you go to the store or have dinner with friends. It's not on anyone's mind. Okay, so you might think that institutional buyers are looking for the next big thing. Looking. As it turns out, the ETFs were passed right after a huge wave of new ideas in AI and models for learning languages. Traders and buyers all like how Bitcoin is growing, getting stronger, and being used by more people. This is something that some groups want to use to make money by giving it to their people. It's not just Larry Fink and Fidelity, BlackRock Fidelity. Coinbase is also there, and they want to take advantage of the attention. And the portfolio manager knows that. Now you need to get the chief investment officer to agree with it. That's why there are these walls. The ETF took down all of those walls. Okay, so you might think, oh, they're all lined up and ready to go. That's what I thought. A lot more institutions were ready to go. It turned out that they weren't lined up after all. They don't fully get it. They don't understand it. The mass media is making them confused. There are also people at Bloomberg and CNBC who understand Bitcoin, but there are also a lot of people who don't. So there is always false information. In the last 10 years, there has been a lot of virtual messaging going on in businesses. I hope that's calmed down now, but because of all the bad things said about Bitcoin mining and how much energy it needs, well, anything worth having needs energy. That's how things should be. But they couldn't really dig because they thought, oh, we don't want to touch that. Then Elizabeth Warren shows up. It's what drug sellers, people traffickers, and other bad people use to pay for things. It's like, okay, I don't want to get it. I don't need it, so there has been a lot of danger in their careers for institutional investors. James Lavish says that he thought about investing in Bitcoin in 2018 even though his pros and coworkers told him not to and called it a Ponzi scheme with no real value. He said that a lot of people still don't get Bitcoin because they either think there's a better one or think it's like Dogecoin. Lavish said that the value of Bitcoin comes from the fact that there aren't many of them and they're becoming more common. This makes them a good way to keep value when prices are going up because of inflation. He said that there are two different ways of thinking about Bitcoin: the way of the player who wants to make quick money and the way of the growing number of people who are looking for a safe way to store their money. Lavish said that he had invested in Bitcoin even though people had warned him not to at first because he thought that more people would learn about it and accept it. He also talked about how Bitcoin's market value is very different from gold's. Here are some more clips from the talk with James Lavish that will help us learn more. I worked as an institutional investor for 30 years and I know that some of my friends are wondering what he's doing. Yes. It's all right, it doesn't bother me, you know. It's good. It tells me I'm going in the right way. So yeah, I mean, my experience was the same in 2018. I ran into Bitcoin a few times that year. It was my goal to stray a bit from the risk curve. Let me make this clear. It's been a long time since Bitcoin wasn't stable. When big investors see that, they think, wow, this is really risky, that risk is going down in the opposite direction as more money comes into Bitcoin. That the risk is going down and that it will stay unpredictable. Anyway, I had some personal cash I wanted to invest, and when I looked at it, I thought, well, I want to go out on the risk curve here What does this Bitcoin thing mean? I believe there is something there. So I did what you normally do. Really, I asked the technology researchers and portfolio managers I work with and my peers on the street. All of the hedge funds said, me and L, even if they said, I own a scrap, but that got it years ago. I'm just saying that it's not worth anything because there's nothing there, it's just a Ponzi plan. It has no value on its own, and it's likely to go to zero. That's not something I would do. I thought, oh my God, thank you so much for telling me not to buy Bitcoin when it was only $10,000. That was really helpful. The way they act is still there though. $60,000 for a pet rock? Why would you buy that? They also don't get it, which goes back to what you said in the beginning. They don't know. They just look at it and think this is the same as Dogecoin. I always wonder why no one just makes a new and better Bitcoin. Why should I buy Bitcoin when everything is going up? I believe that everything will get better. Yes, that's why Bitcoin will be a part of it. But don't forget that Bitcoin is a very small possession. It's still only $1 trillion, you know. Yes, so when you look at gold, it's going up whether you count jewelry or not. I mean, some people save their jewelry as an investment because they think it's safe, you know. Yes, but that number is 15 trillion. Even so, Bitcoin is still very small compared to gold. And if you look at all the assets in the world, I think they're worth more than $8 trillion. Bitcoin is a very small part of that. So we're talking about two different ways of thinking. If you look at Bitcoin and think, okay, it's just another risky asset, that's what you mean. There's another GameStop, another joke coin or something. There's another game I can play to risk my money on while I try to catch up. And that's one way of thinking. It happens all the time. The mindset of a gambler can be seen everywhere. People are not to blame. They think it's their only option. What do you think they do when they go in to buy gas or a Diet Coke? They go up to the counter and say, oh, and bring me some lottery tickets. What makes you think they do that? Because they believe they will win the lottery? Because there's always the chance that I might win and be able to stop this grind and get out. That's one way to look at it, and it's always been there. For most people who aren't really Bitcoiners, that's what it has been for a long time. But there's also the other side, which is, oh my God, this money supply is growing so fast. It's important for me to put my money somewhere I know it won't be stolen or deflated. Okay, that's the other side then. I believe that camp is getting bigger. As that camp grows and more people get to know those people, it's like a cause that people get with. Ethereum investors are keeping an eye on MPEPE, a cryptocurrency that is becoming more popular. MPEPE is a one-of-a-kind chance to invest. Because it was built on the Ethereum blockchain and combines complex financial services with joke culture. Using Ethereum's strong infrastructure, security, and ability to grow, the coin is set up for big growth. Adding DeFi features to MPEP, such as decentralized loans and yield farming, makes it easier to use and more appealing as an investment. People who support Ethereum know that MPEP can get a lot richer by using the benefits of the Ethereum blockchain. The MPEP coin is a strong competitor in the market because it works well with Ethereum technology. MPEP gives people who have invested in Ethereum a new chance to make a lot of money. The cryptocurrency is a great way to invest because it combines great DeFi features with joke culture in a way that no other currency does. When MPEG uses the Ethereum infrastructure